Hi everyone, my name is Jake, and the reason why I'm making this video today is because I find myself in a predicament. So a couple months ago, I was playing semi-pro football, and I was running a route. I played wide receiver, and I made a cut a little prematurely, basically meaning that I dug my foot in the ground a little bit earlier than I should have when I was coming out of my break. And because I did that, and it wasn't necessarily the best field, it's semi-pro football. If anybody ever played semi-pro football, they know what I'm talking about. They basically, we find a lot, wherever's vacant that we can use to, be able to have our practices at. So basically, I was running a route, and when I made my cut into my dig, I ended up busting open my entire left ACL, and I was on the ground in grimacing pain. They had to carry me off the field, and I at first didn't realize it was actually a full tear, because I've had this type of injury before where my kneecap would go out and in real quick, but once it went back in, after a day or so, it would feel fine and I would just go back to my normal life. So this time when it happened, it felt a little different, and once it happened, I knew I was kind of in for one. But I didn't think it was a complete ACL tear. I just thought maybe it was just like some sort of like really hard sprain. So what ended up happening is I thought I could self-recover, and I just iced it, and got to the point where after a few days I was able to get up and walk around. So I thought it was just a more intense version of that spraying. So I just kept letting it go and go and go, and just updated my team on my progress, and they just, patiently waited for me to have my return. So what happened was, after probably about 3 or 4 weeks, I was like, okay, this is a little different. This isn't something that I'm accustomed to. It's been 4 weeks. I'm still hobbling around. What's going on? So I was in the middle of getting my insurance updated, so I wasn't able to get an MRI right away. So I went to a doctor in Ellis Hospital. So basically, I was just in limbo, just waiting around and just waiting for something to happen. As far as the MRI, I was able to eventually get with an orthopedic doctor, and they were able to bring me in, get the MRI done, and find out my results. I had a follow-up appointment with my doctor, but a couple days before, I wanted to call in to get my MRI results just to kind of see what I was dealing with and where I was at. I was very curious at this point, considering it's been so long since the injury happened. So I got on the phone with a woman who proclaimed she knew a lot about MRI results, and I must emphasize this, she was not a doctor. So she was reading me off the results and saying that there's just some tendonitis, like ligament strains, like sprains, stuff like that. And I felt good. I was like, wow, this is such a relief. Like, this is great. I don't need surgery. This is something that I can overcome, and with just some more patience and more rehabbing myself, I can find a way to overcome this. So I was feeling really good. But then reality set in when I had my appointment. I was walking in all confident, but then my doctor, he came over, he kind of tugged on my knee. What they typically do is they'll take like the inside of their hands and they'll, kind of push towards them on your knee. You'll feel like a little movement there, a little joint movement. And the second he did that, he said, oh, looks like you got a torn ACL there. Looks like it's a grade 3, and you're going to need surgery. I was like, wow, really? Oh my God. Like, I've been rehabbing myself. I've been getting so much stronger. Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I feel like I'm getting better. So, there you have it. I was feeling like I was recovering just a little bit longer than I usually would have. I just thought maybe it was a harder sprain, but turns out it was a completely torn ACL. So now I find myself about to get surgery in a few days. So the reason why I wanted to make this video and several videos that will follow this is because I understand that this is typically a unique situation when it comes to the ACL tear. Whereas most other people, once they have the ACL tear occur, they are heavily encouraged to get the ACL reconstruction surgery as soon as possible, almost immediately after it happens. This way, the recovery time is a lot shorter, although the rehab might be a little bit more intense. Whereas in my situation, where I have been able to build up a lot of strength back in my leg, almost to where it was before, I find myself in the unique situation to where I'm going to get the surgery a couple months after the actual injury happens, and find myself possibly in a different type of rehab post-surgery. So what I want to try to accomplish in this series of videos, I won't go ahead and call this a documentary, is saying that, well, maybe it is. This process, we'll call it a process. So in this process, I want to display kind of my strengths as to where I am right now. So an ACL that is torn 2 months after it has been torn without a surgery, kind of show you where I'm at physically, physical capabilities, and then obviously the post-op, once I get my surgery, what am I gonna be able to do physicality wise, my capabilities, how long is the rehab? Is it going to be the same amount of time as if I were to get it right away? Is it going to be shorter? Is it going to be longer? Who knows? So this is an opportunity to experiment and see, if ACL reconstruction, the rehab process, you should always get it right away. So this is not in no way an advocate to say that you should wait to get a surgery on a ruptured, torn ACL. This is just a unique situation because I fell in the circumstance of having to wait for my ACL surgery. So this is just a way to analyze and see what are some of the similarities or differences when it comes to waiting for ACL as opposed to getting the ACL surgery right away. So as far as my movement's concerned, you can see it's the left knee that's the ACL tear. I can go up, I can bend it, I can move around really good, straighten it out, go back, straighten out, all pretty good. Now again, this is about 2.5 months after the tear without surgery. I have a lot of movement. I basically have all my movement back. It's just that there's still a lot of stiffness and pain. Not a lot of pain, but enough that it's annoying. But I can walk, I can walk straight really good. But if I were to say dig really hard at full speed, if I was playing a, high level sport, I would more than likely this knee would buckle and it would go out of the socket and back in, or even worse, it might stay out completely. So right now, vertical north and south, very good. I just got to be really careful on crevices. Like if I were to step on here really hard with the middle part of my foot, that would give me a lot of issues there. So I'll show you a little bit of what I'm working with. So you see I got the commode down here ready to go when I have my surgery coming up, because I'm going to mainly be in my living room. It looks a little bit of a mess, but just because I'm getting stuff organized. See, I'm going to have, weights to work my upper body, kettlebells. I'm probably going to utilize them a lot too. And then I just got a lot of my clothes down here since I can't go to my upstairs, and just a bunch of Jake stuff for the most part. So you've probably noticed that on camera my hair's been extra long, and I don't usually grow it this long. And the reason why I haven't got it cut yet is because my whole thing is I want to get it cut right before my surgery, which it's this weekend. So I'm going to go and get my hair cut. I'm going to try to grow my hair close, maybe not quite this long, but close to this long again. When that happens, it'll kind of signify the amount of time that it's been for my surgery. Once I see my hair at this length again, it will more likely mean that I will be towards the end or at the end of my rehab, and I'll be up and back on my feet and 100%. So I'm about to go get my haircut and I'll share the results.